So the youth of Kenya has taken to the street to protest and boycott a tax bill that their government, their president, William Ruto, has proposed. And this is the youth. Actually, they've tagged them as the internet age youth. So these are the youth that have been doing lots of social media, seeing what goes on in the Western world, and knowing that those people in the Western world were not born of different creature or born from some aliens. They were all born just like all of us in Africa were born from a woman. A man's sperm fertilize a woman's egg, and then they form the baby, and then we come out. 9 months. Theirs is not 20 months. Theirs is 9 months. Ours is 9 months. So they don't know why they're able to put rules, regulations, accountability in place for our systems in place. And that's what Jonas sometimes say, that have put system in place for it to work on their behalf. But yet, for us as an Africans, we're struggling to put A and B together, or to put A and A together to get A. So this is a tax bill that came about because of how much money Kenya has borrowed from basically the world. So let me break it down to you. According to the article that I read, Kenya owes about $80 billion in debt. Okay? Of that 80 billion, they're paying 27% as an interest. Aish! Here, we're paying 4% as an interest on, or 4 to 5% interest on our mortgages, and it's showing in our 8 to 2. Imagine paying 27% on $80 billion. Let me break this billions down for you. So, I don't have all the breakdowns here, but I have a lot. They're saying Kenya owes IMF, International Monetary Fund. Kenya owes them $3.6 billion. They have other foreign lenders. They owe other foreign lenders $35 billion. China, they owe China $6.7 billion. Their domestic bond holders, they owe them $7.1 billion. African Development Bank, they owe them $3.5 billion, and many that is just didn't fit the paper that I have. Anyway, so their president, William Ruto, stated that because of this high debt that they owe and all the interest that they're paying to people, there's no money to pay even their workers. So in order for them to pay their workers, they either have to borrow money, or the citizens will have to pay taxes. They're going to tax a lot of things so that they can harness those revenues that they will use to pay their workers and also manage the country. They can harness that from the taxes. And I think this was a good idea, because remember when Nana was coming, Nana also promised that no more borrowing. We're not going to borrow. There's not going to be an African or Ghana nation borrowing money from anywhere. We don't know what happened to that. But anyway, that's for another time. So Kenyans accepted this, that okay, we rather pay taxes than you going to borrow money. Because a lot of the money, when they borrow, where does it go? Something as simple as when an engineer or a contractor is awarded a contract to do, let's say, a road of, let's say, 10 kilometers, which is very, very long, very, very long. The person goes and, this is something that I've heard that happens in Ghana. So the engineer, they do the appraisal, their estimate and everything. They come in, they're like, okay, this is going to cost $10 million. They show it to the minister who is in charge of this. The minister goes, add a zero to that $10 million. If you add a zero to that $10 million, so let's say 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you add another zero, it becomes $100 million. I'm not sure if I'm turning it well, but you have $10 million. Forget this zero. This is $10 million. I mean, am I even looking at it well? I think it has turned. Let me see. 2 years here. Good. Now I get it. So $10 million. Okay. If you add, so that's 10 and a 60. If you add another zero, it becomes 100 million. So then they will take this estimate to the government. And then the money that they borrow from IMF, it comes. They take 10 million that is meant for the construction of the road. And then the $90 million that is left, where does it go? It's unaccounted for. Adeng. People are bad. People are evil. People are evil. So if you go and borrow 100 million from IMF, and you come and use 10 million to do the construction, and the rest you guys distribute it among yourselves. You bring your kids to abroad. You throw lavish birthday parties. Your wives are doing stores as if the money is coming from the store, because the same store, somebody else who is not married to a minister, who is not married to a contractor, whoever, is also doing the same store and it's not yielding the same money. They're not throwing $100,000 parties in Ghana. So let's go back to Kenya. So with all this amount that and the interest that the government said, I'm not going to borrow money to pay for that interest and also to pay for my citizens. So let's all suffer for a while, because you know what? There's victory after suffering, okay? After hard work. So this thing resonated well with the people. So they started a lot of taxes. He started taxing a lot of things. The one that really got the young ones to strike was when they started taxing such things like bread, things like sanitary pads. The sanitary pads, a lot of young women, because they don't have money to buy, their parents don't have money to buy those sanitary pads, they when they have their period, they don't go to school, they have to stay home. So now and even like a lot of NGOs and stuff like that are fighting that. And now you're coming in and you're taxing sanitary pad. Are this money really? Can you guys can you guys account for these money that you're taking, that you keep taking? So this Kenya, the fastest growing economy in Africa, it's on a brink of fiscal calamity, as a news article that I read put it. Okay? Yeah. So now, initially it started off as a peaceful protest. Now they went to the Parliament House. Now I see fire in other buildings, and apparently about 10 people, possibly innocent lives, has been lost in this protest. Hey, African leaders, I don't know whether it is because the Bible says, vengeance is of God. When people punish you, they punish you, and you want to revenge. The Bible tells you vengeance is of God. And because of that, these leaders hide behind such notion to just cripple the young ones, the innocent ones, the vulnerable ones. It is sad. At this point, at this time, the president, William Ruto, is listening and has actually scrapped some of the unnecessary things that he taxed. Okay, and apparently has halted the bill. It's not going to pass yet, having 14 days of dialogue with the protesters and come up with a best solution for this. So we're hoping that things will get better, and we're hoping that this is the beginning of youth standing up to talk, to challenge the status quo. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe, like, and then share.